Am I the asshole for not wanting to become my mother's carer? Currently me, F24, and my parents 57 and 56. Growing up I had an emotionally abusive father, specifically to my sisters and I as we grew up. We were a family of 2 boys, 4 girls. My mother did nothing to stop him and she sat very quiet in the background of his abuse in fear he would turn on her. One event that began his abuse was when I was just starting my periods, age 11. And I went into the bathroom one evening and my father went in after me. A few hours went by, and suddenly I hear my name being called by my father. When I come over to him I see he is holding a bin and a bloody pad. He then yells into my face, "What a fucking bloodbag you are," and proceeds to push the bin into my arms. My father went on to shame me and my sisters for any shameful situations that we showed growing up, such as periods, pain of some sort such as headaches, back pain, or generally any female-related issues. So, when I finished high school, I moved out of home and moved into an apartment and eventually went to therapy and relearned to feel comfortable and unashamed for being a woman, and I stopped contact with my parents. Recently my mother has had to go into the hospital after a stroke and my father reached out to me, asking for my help with her care. As they cannot afford a full-time carer and my other siblings have already rejected my father, I am the youngest. I know that I owe them nothing, but I feel that I should help them. On a phone call my father says he is sorry for his treatment during my childhood and then asked if I could become my mother's carer and that it would only be looking after her during working hours. He said that due to COVID it has been incredibly hard to find a nurse, carer to look after my mother while he is working, and that he would possibly have to quit his job to keep up with fees of the carer either way. I then asked him about government support, healthcare support, and he said, it does not cover everything and that my help would be a God's blessing. I don't know how to feel. I don't want to leave my parents out to dry. But I had to go through years of therapy to recover from what my father left me with. Currently, due to COVID and lockdown in Australia, I have very little work as I work in the hospitality industry, so work is not the issue. Am I the asshole for not helping with my mother's care? I don't know how my parents will get through without a carer during the day or without an income. What should I do? Update. I freaked out after some of the comments I was getting from you guys. I will definitely do some research and decide what to do with my parents, whether that is forwarding advice, a chip-in, or a planned agreement. I'm not sure yet. I will probably give it some thought, and a call with my siblings is definitely going to happen. Update 2. I did some calls and talked to some of my siblings and I was surprised to find that no, my dad had not contacted some of them at all. My eldest brother and sister have not talked to my dad about being a carer or talked to him about the full extent of her situation. My other siblings were in a very similar boats to me. They were told that they were the only ones left. And a bunch of God bullshit. Some of them were considering helping financially but not becoming a carer, and one of my sisters full up just said no and blocked his number. This whole situation has made it very clear that my dad is lying again. There truly are so many resources in Australia and support available, and I think he took advantage of the fact that before this, I really didn't know the healthcare system here in much detail at all. I am still deciding whether I should help him with resources, possibly help him financially, or just cut him and my mother out completely. Update 3. I did not want to contact my father for my response for maybe another week, but he called me today and demanded that I gave him my answer. I told him that I needed to know the full extent of Mum's situation, and from what he told me, she has limited movement but she is still verbal although very slow, and she is in a wheelchair. She is also currently still in the hospital. He then went on to tell me how as a daughter I needed to step up and do the right thing by him and my mother. He told me that he and my mum looked after me all my childhood and caring for my mother now would be nothing in comparison. I then asked him why government support NDISECT was not a reliable option for her care and for you financially. He then proceeded to tell me how he shouldn't need to go through all the trouble and bother when his daughter can look after and care for her disabled mother like I should. He told me that it is my duty now that they are older for me to be there for them. I told him no, it's not my responsibility and I will not be helping care for her, and there is an abundance of support systems that are there for you and my mother, and that you will be informed of them by the hospital and social workers. Do not contact me. I hung up the phone and I finally just want to move away from that for good. After all I went through to get to where I am, I can't believe I let him manipulate me like that again. I am so thankful to Reddit for making me realize how much I was being lied to, and I think if I didn't come on this platform I wouldn't have thought of all the other ways my mother could have received assistance. Because all that was going on in my mind was the guilt of, I'll be a bad daughter for not helping. I really do believe that my mother will be okay. Australia has such a strong healthcare system, I learned after my research, and even if my dad did have to quit his job, he would be supported by our healthcare system. My dad has been contacting me via my brother's phone as he tried to call me multiple times on his phone, but I blocked him. So after he started calling me there, I turned off my phone for a few hours and only recently turned my phone back on to say thank you to Reddit honestly. I think I will be going back to therapy regularly again, as I do see a hole in the guilt I feel in regards to my parents, and like everyone, there's always room for self-improvement and healing. Not the asshole. You do not owe anything to an abusive parent, and passively enabling abuse is a form of abuse in and of itself. Also, I wouldn't be surprised if your father treated you like a servant and started in on you again when you came to help. You don't want to put yourself in that situation. Decline, and you can tell him why, or not. Not the asshole. And #X200B. Just refuse. A no would be okay in any situation. And #X200B. And #X200B. But with abusive parents, your father was directly abusive, your mother was his enabler, and let him do it, both are equally you really need to stay away. And #X200B. I have very little work as I work in the hospitality industry, so work is not the issue. For the next 30 years? If you become her caretaker, you will be that until both of your parents are dead. No job, no relationship, daily abuse. Follow the lead of your sibling. Let your abusive parents solve this on their own. And #X200B. And #X200B. Do not do it. Not the asshole. Don't do it and don't feel guilty. Your father was abusive and your mother never helped you or your sisters when you were most vulnerable. Why help her when she is? Plus, this is Australia, not America. If your father has to give up work, your mum should be able to get supports as well as disability pension, and your dad will collect a carer's pension. If your mother cannot care for herself, there are nursing homes and respite care available. Your father just doesn't want to care for her, and your siblings are right to decline. They are not sorry for the abuse you suffered, but because you may not comply with their wishes if they don't pretend contrition. You are not the asshole, and the reason they don't have children wanting to help them is because they drive those children away. Not the asshole. They are working their way through your siblings until they find one that caves. Don't let that be you. You have worked hard to overcome the abuse, and all this will do is cause you to go backwards. He is manipulating you, and if he truly was sorry, he would have apologized years ago, not now when it suits his needs. Nobody will blame you for not being a parent's carer, even if you have a great relationship with them. It's hard work, which is why people are paid to do it. Not the asshole. I am a rehab therapist. Being a caregiver to another individual is extremely stressful. This is made even worse by your complicated family history. If you say yes, your life will not be easy and your father will not be nice. Why do this to yourself? You deserve happiness and freedom. You earned it. Don't let his guilt sway you into doing something life-changing that only benefits your abusers. You live your best life, they chose theirs. Much peace to you. Not the asshole. Abusive, misogynistic behaviors don't go away with a snap of the fingers, nor does an apology conveniently given seconds before a request for help make up for years of abuse. They failed you as parents. They were supposed to protect and nurture you, and they did the opposite. Feel no obligation towards them as a daughter. Not the asshole. You have every right to protect yourself from further abuse. You don't owe them anything. Maintain your boundaries. Am I the asshole for telling my 9-year-old niece that I, 24F, am engaged to my female partner? My niece is 9. She is already well aware of same-sex couples. She has said words like lesbian and lezzy in front of me, which I did not teach her. My niece has friends at school, YouTube, movies, the internet and so on where she could have learned these things. She is very understanding and I love her so much. Anyways, she has been aware that me and my girlfriend are together for months. And upon telling her, I sat her down and asked her, who do you think should get married? She said, people that love each other. I said, oh, so what about a man and a man, or a woman and a woman getting married? She said, well, if they love each other. To me, she had a good understanding of same-sex couples, and I never really ever bring it up to her. I don't glorify anything or focus on it much at all. Skip to last night, I told my niece that me and my girlfriend are engaged, and that I am excited for her to be a flower girl, and showed her some pictures of pretty dresses, and she was so excited and said it would be so cool, and proceeded to tell me about her 2 boy crushes at school. So then, me and my girlfriend hear my sister, the mother of my niece, talking loudly and angrily to my mum. It turns out she was saying we are messing with my niece's head, that she would have liked to talk to her first and that we are in the wrong. My sister has known for a week that we are engaged, and was the one to arrange my niece coming over for the weekend, so I assumed my niece would be fine with hearing my news. My sister left. I messaged and said I didn't know not to tell her and I had the best intentions. But now I have a voice recording of my sister shouting and swearing, threatening me, saying she is going to come and knock me and my partner out and take my niece away, and is calling us twisted and perverted, and says she doesn't want her child in that environment. She has never once congratulated me, and my partner has always had the impression that my sister doesn't like her. My sister is supposed to be picking my niece up in the next couple of hours, and has even said she will go to the police for being perverted and that there's something weird going on. Am I the asshole? I am so upset because I just wanted to share my exciting news with my niece and it has all backfired, and my sister is saying I will never see my niece again. It's sad because my sister will shout and swear about any and everything in front of my niece and doesn't have much time for her. She is always shoving her into other people to look after, and my niece often says she spends a lot of time alone and is lonely. I just wanted to give her something to look forward to. Advice is appreciated. Edit for clarity. Sister was in my home dropping my niece off, angrily talking to my mum about me. I wasn't 100% sure this was the case until my mum and partner confirmed it once my sister had left. So I messaged my sister. All these threats are through messages on Facebook and through voice messages on Facebook. My niece is still here with me until my sister comes to pick her up. Update. My angry sister was meant to pick up my niece hours ago, since she made out that bring around me is a bad environment that she doesn't want her daughter to be in. But yet she hasn't responded and hasn't come to collect my niece. So I am assuming she is staying the night. Update. Thank you to everyone who has been kind and supportive. I didn't expect to get so many responses on this post, and I feel so relieved to know that for the most part it seems I'm not the asshole, lol. My niece has ended up staying tonight. My sister never came to get her. My mum messaged my sister to let her know my niece suddenly had bad toothache. But we've managed to help soothe it now. My sister took 2 hours to reply and was very blunt in her messages, so it seems she will be picking her up tomorrow. Not the asshole. Your sister is homophobic. Your niece already knows you are gay. That being said, I think it's absolutely wrong to ask a kid to be flower girl without clearing it with the parents first. Regardless of the gender of the couple getting married, it's extra work for the parents. A little bit asshole for that. Not the asshole. Nothing you can do. Your sister homophobic. She also have complete control over her kid. Most you can do is tell mum exactly what happened and hope she got your back. Edit. Whoops, forgot through. Never ask a kid to be a part of any event without clearing with parents first through. Not the asshole. You did nothing wrong. On the contrary. You probably made your niece happy that you're including her in the ceremony. Your sister is homophobic. Has even said she will go to the police for being perverted. What is she going to say? My sister is a lesbian, do something about it? If anything, she should be the one getting reported since she threatened you with violence. Not the asshole. Honestly, I think your sister has a issue with you being gay. IDKY, but it sounds as if this is bigger than her daughter. Not the asshole. I'm sorry your sister is like that. Not the asshole. Your sister wouldn't act this way if you were getting married to a man. You're just excited for your wedding, as anyone should be. There is no shame in that, and I'm sorry your sister is trying to ruin it for you. Prior to this particular visit, did sister not know you and your partner are a couple? Like, thought you were just roommates or something? Because it makes no sense that she suddenly, after I suppose years of saying nothing at all, suddenly started shouting and swearing, threatening me, saying she is going to come and knock me and my partner out and take my niece away, and is calling us twisted and perverted, and says she doesn't want her child in that environment. So info, I guess. What caught sister by surprise? Not the asshole. But save that voicemail for a long time. Your sister is obviously a very damaged person to shit on you like this. She could go to the police and make up some kind of sexual abuse story. Homophobes love the fantasy that every homosexual is recruiting, or grooming, others to be homosexual. Like they are Hare Krishna or Mormons or something. That voicemail is the only proof you have to present of your sister making a false claim should your sister go this route. Unfortunately, you may not see your niece again for a very long time. If you have the chance, assure her that you love her and that your door is always open to her without judgment, but you have no choice but to respect her mother's wishes. The niece will easily put together who is the asshole and who isn't. Am I the asshole for trying to make my autistic child feel better by buying him a gift? I have 2 kids. Kayla is 7 and Jamie is 5. Jamie has autism, ADHD, RSD, OCD, and anger issues that come with those. Kayla is perfectly normal. When Jamie was 2 years old, his anger outbursts were intense. It's only gotten worse as he's gotten older. He's in therapy now, but it doesn't seem to help. It's incredibly hard to take him anywhere public because he has meltdowns, kick, scream, biting himself and his sister, if he doesn't get what he wants. We have tried everything to make him stop. Nothing helps. It's gotten to the point where Kayla refuses to go shopping if he's going because she's embarrassed. Kayla is very intelligent for her age. She memorized our phone number when she was 3 years old. She knows mine and my wife's full names and our address. She can call 911 in an emergency and keep a cool head. She's a gifted 6-year-old. That's why I can't understand why she is so unreasonable when it comes to her brother. Kayla gets incredibly jealous of Jamie, and over the smallest things. She often accuses her mother and I of loving Jamie more, which is ridiculous. I love them equally. Jamie just needs extra attention due to his disabilities. Anyway, back to when Jamie was 2. He had one of the worst meltdowns, at the time, on Kayla's birthday because he couldn't understand why she was getting presents and he wasn't allowed to open or play with any of it. My wife and I just couldn't take it anymore, so I had a good idea. I went out and bought him one gift. It instantly fixed everything, except Kayla got upset. She cried and screamed all day long, but we explained to her that she could have one gift on his birthday. Kayla recently turned 7. We threw her a birthday party with her school friends and neighbors. We bought her what she had asked for. I thought the party was going great, but when we gave her brother his gift, Kayla went batshit. I reminded her of our deal and she said she doesn't want gifts on her brother's birthday. She just doesn't want him to get presents on her birthday. I told her she has no problem accepting her gift on Jamie's birthday and she burst into tears and said I was a bad daddy. I told her this was selfish and ridiculous of her, but she wouldn't drop it. I ended up grounding her on her birthday, which I did not like doing, but she left me no choice. It's been 2 weeks since Kayla's birthday and she still hasn't let it go. She has since been ungrounded but stays in her room anyway. She's been non-stop pouty, sullen, whiny. When I ask if she wants something like more food, help with homework, etc., she asks why I don't ask Jamie first. It's really getting on my nerves and my wife still thinks I'm a jackass, so she's no help. I don't think what I did was so horrible that I deserve to be constantly punished by a child. Our system has worked great for Jamie. I wish Kayla would be the good big sister I know she is and just swallow her pride. Jamie can't help it. Kayla can. So Reddit, am I the asshole? Edit. A lot of people are saying to split the kids up. This is a good idea, but we can't do it because my wife is physically unable to take a kid alone. She was in a car accident several years ago and now uses a cane on a good day and wheelchair on a bad day, and depends on me. We would have tried it otherwise. That's why it's pretty much just up to me to fix things and discipline the kids. This just does not sound like a long-term solution. I feel your frustration, but you're conditioning your children to expect gifts on other people's birthdays. It sounds well-intentioned, but your kids are going to grow up feeling entitled. Yes, you are the asshole. You shouldn't be putting that much pressure on a 7-year-old. Telling her to suck it up and be a good big sister because you can't deal with his meltdown appropriately. Take him out of the room, be the adult here, not your daughter. Jamie has autism, ADHD, RSD, OCD, and anger issues that come with those. Kayla is perfectly normal. You are the asshole. You are the asshole. JFC. Your daughter is 7. You're acting like she's a damn adult. She has every right to be upset that someone else is getting gifts on the one day out of the year that is supposed to be for her. You are not helping your son. You're turning him into a spoiled kid. You are the asshole. You're setting your older child up for a lifetime of jealousy involving of her younger disabled brother. Your puzzlement at her not understanding her brother's special needs is, itself, puzzling. And you're calling her selfish and ridiculous is simply cruel. She's a child, for heaven's sake. She needs some things that are for her and for her alone. Take her out for some father-daughter time, and take him out for some father-son time. Your wife needs to spend special time with the kids as well. Separate them for some events like her birthday party. Finally, seek some parental counseling before she decides to have nothing more to do with either you or her brother. Your system has worked great for Jamie. Not for Kayla. She's a child, it's not her job to swallow her pride. You are the asshole. You are the asshole. You are sacrificing Kayla for Jamie. Enjoy being alone in the nursing home. You are the asshole. She's likely made to feel subpar because of the attention you give your other child. He gets more attention and she sees that as you loving, caring for the other child more. You can't see this bias and end up punishing her for voicing her concerns. That won't end well long term. Don't forget that Kayla is a 7-year-old child. It feels like you're treating her like a teenager. But don't forget that she isn't able to comprehend everything that's going on. Am I the asshole for doing chores at midnight and waking my husband? My 45 husband and I, 36, both work full-time. We have 4 kids, 13, 10, 7, 5, all in school. My 4 kids and I also train competitive martial arts together every evening at the local dojo. 2 of the sessions are just for me, adults only, but the rest I take with my kids since I'm already there. My husband is great at staying home with whichever kid isn't in a class at the moment, which amount to about a couple of hours in the evening, and my oldest and I get home around 9. Before I leave for class, I do my best to make sure that homework is done, dinner is already made and ready for kids and husband to eat, and then I do bedtime when I get home. The problem is that with our schedules, the only time I have left to tackle chores like laundry, dishes, and general housekeeping is after everyone is in bed. After almost a decade of trying to enlist my husband to take on some of the tasks, I'm just done. He will do it if I ask, beg, but only once, or maybe for a week before he stops. And he does such an inadequate job that I have to redo them anyway. Don't think I'm that picky, but I'm talking about sweeping. But the piles don't get swept into the trash. Just piles that the kids and pets step on and track all over. Dishes. But not rinsing first so food is caked on even after dishwasher or else still greasy. Bedtime. He ends up falling asleep before kids. Laundry. Every load is mixed, overfilled, and put on high-temp speed wash with not enough detergent. I finally just told him to stop. Clearly he doesn't want to help, and when he does it's just extra work for me. As aggravating as it is, it's easier for me to get it done the right way the first time. I am not naturally good at housekeeping, nor do I enjoy it either, but I do not have the option to just let things slide, as we have 4 kids who would suffer if I did. It's not ideal, but it is what it is. Anyway, the past month has been crazy. I work at the high school and I love my job and my students. But it's been a long month. I spend my days breaking up fights in hallways, classrooms, I float in the school, dealing with kids in crisis. I need my training sessions at night just as a way to maintain my mental health. It's been harder to keep on top of the house, so I've been up until midnight washing dishes and doing laundry. My kids are all sound sleepers and my husband has been too. But he's been caught up in some show on his phone, so I guess he's not fully asleep by the time I get to chores, and now he's upset because I've kept him up, clattering around the house, when he has to be up early. To clarify, we both leave the house at the same time and I have to get the kids ready on top of that. He does have a very physical job though, so I can see that I could be the asshole by making him more tired for his job. But I also do not know what more I can do at this point. I'm not trying to make excess noise, we just have a small house. Anyway, too long did not read. Am I the asshole for keeping my husband up late while I do dishes? Edit. Thanks so far for the input. The kids can and do help out here. They help fold and sort, empty dishwasher, emptying their trash, etc. I have great kids who generally enjoy being helpful. Hoo boy. First off, not the asshole. Your husband sounds like an entitled ass. The absolutely nerve of him to whine you kept him up when you're cleaning up your family's mess and should be sleeping yourself. He needs to step up and do chores. What does he actually do when he is at home with the kids? Sit on his butt? Not acceptable in a partnership. I refuse to believe he is that incompetent about the chores. He's doing them poorly, so you just say never mind. I'd also start having the kids do chores the right way. They are all old enough to help and or learn in some capacity. This is not sustainable for you. Even if it means once a week the whole family pitches in to clean, or everyone dedicated 1 hour to a task and you have to check it quickly once they are done. Not the asshole. He may have a physical job, but you're pulling a lot of weight too. He can't complain about you taking the time to do things he clearly doesn't want to do. Does he even have a compromise in mind? I agree with the other comments. Start teaching your kids some basic chores so they don't turn out like dear old dad. Not the asshole. This dude is an objectively bad husband and partner. He needs to stop being lazy and start helping. He can learn to do chores properly. If he does not, he has absolutely zero cause to complain about any noise you make. Not the asshole. If your lazy ass husband, and kids, bothered to help with said chores, you wouldn't have to stay up to do them while they were all asleep. Not the asshole. No one is born a good housekeeper. We all have to learn. If your husband doesn't want to get woken up by your clattering, he can learn to do the job right the first time. And frankly, all your kids are more than old enough to be doing chores to take some of your load off. Especially if your major concerns are sweeping, laundry, and dishes and you have a dishwasher. My main chores when I was 5 was unloading the dishwasher. Anything I couldn't reach with a step stool I put aside until I was done, and then my mom or dad would put it away. Not the asshole. He's practicing malicious compliance. He'll do the chores but only if you beg and then do them so poorly you just go back to doing them yourself. He's a dumb brat. Stop doing his laundry. Stop cooking for him. Hire a cleaning service out of household funds. Weaponized incompetence. That's what your husband is doing. You're not the asshole. Stop doing his laundry. If he wants clean clothes he can wash them himself. I'd stop cooking him food, but that's rough when you also cook for your kids. But anything that is strictly his? Stop taking care of it. And think about looking into counseling for the two of you. I think you might need it. Not the asshole. But please stand up for yourself with your husband and also assign your kids some reasonable and age-appropriate chores so they don't grow up helpless or expecting someone else to do everything for them.